In Nigeria, many workers suffer injuries while performing their jobs, and they sometimes run into problems when their employees refuse to compensate them. While the Nigerian Labour Act is the major piece of legislation governing employment-related matters, employee compensation in Nigeria is regulated by the Employees Compensation Act of 2010. Furthermore, the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund Management Board is vested with the power to implement this act and the fund created under Section 56 of the Act. So now these are the key things I want you to know. The first thing I want you to know is that an employee who contracts a disabling occupational disease at the place of employment covered by the Act must notify the employer within 14 days of the incident or learning of it by providing information about the disease or injury to a manager, supervisor, first aid provider, or agent in charge of the department where the accident occurred. In the event of a death, the dependent also has this obligation. You also need to provide the following details: 1, the employee's name; 2, the date, the time, and the location of the incident, and in plain language, the type and cause of the illness or injury if known. Note that a failure to do this would bar your claim to compensation, except where the board deems the information provided to be sufficient despite being imperfect, if the employer has not been prejudiced, or if allowing the claim will be in the interest of justice. The second thing I want you to know is that the employer will last employ the employee in the employment to which the disease was attributable must be notified of the death or disability in the cases of disabling occupational diseases. Now, the third thing I want you to know is that the employer is required to notify the NSITF board and the National Council for Occupational Safety and Health Office within 7 days of receiving notice of an occupational ailment or death of the employee. Failure to comply with this is an offense under the Act. The fourth thing I want you to know is that any employee who sustains an injury that renders them permanently disabled while on the job, whether or not they are doing so at a workplace, is entitled to compensation under Part 4 of the Act. The fifth thing I want you to know as an employee is that you are entitled to compensation for any accidents that occur while traveling between your place of employment and 1, the primary or the secondary residence; 2, your usual dining location; or 3, your usual place of employment, provided that the employer is made aware of this location in advance. Now, the sixth thing I want you to know is that when an employee is unable to earn full remuneration at work due to an injury, compensation is owed on the first working day following the injury. Only a healthcare benefit will be paid on the day the injury was sustained. Furthermore, an employee has a right to compensation for mental stress, guys. I feel like people don't talk about this one enough. However, this is subject to whether it occurred while traveling between their place of employment and their primary or secondary residence, their usual dining location, or their usual place of employment, provided that the employer is made aware of this location in advance. Additionally, an employee would only be granted this compensation if the stress is a persistent reaction to an unanticipated traumatic event that affects them during their time of work, or if a qualified medical practitioner has certified that the employee has a physical or psychological ailment that culminates in mental stress because of the nature of the job or the occurrence of any incident while they are at work. Last and definitely not the least, guys, if an employee has mental stress as a result of the employer changing the task or working conditions in a way that is deemed unfairly or significantly exceeds the employee's capabilities, the employee is definitely entitled to compensation. So that will be everything for this video, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and please leave your comment in the comment section. See you in my next video. Peace.